So this presentation is about sustainable product service system, and I'd like to make a very brief state-of-the-art in product service system to better understand why it's a promising approach in terms of sustainability, what's the role of design, and in particular, what are the future research challenges we have to address. So, I don't want to make you too gloomy with the first slide, but I think it's important to start with this figure, 2 Celsius degree. This is the limit of the global average temperature increase at the end of the century. So basically, we must be able to not increase the global average temperature by more than 2 Celsius degree above the pre-industrial level. And this was agreed in the last climate change conference we had in Paris. However, the bad news is that without any specific intervention, so going on with what we are currently doing, the temperature increase at the end of the century would be between 4 and 7 Celsius degrees. Also, in terms of resources consumption, we are actually consuming much more than the ability of the planet to regenerate our resources. So basically, we are depleting stocks of natural resources, and we are preventing future generations to get access to the same level of resources we had in the past. And because of these challenges, it has been suggested, as Leonardo reminded us before, that industrialized countries need to go through a process of drastic reduction of resources consumption. So basically, we must be able to meet our needs consuming only 10% of what we are consuming today. So as you can imagine, this is a huge challenge. And at this point, the question is, can we meet this challenge by improving products and production processes only? So this is very relevant to designers, because we got used to design products. In the past decades, we developed methods and tools to design low environmental impact products. We know how to do that, but the question is that enough to meet this kind of big challenge? So let's answer to this question by looking at a particular example. So let's take into consideration the evolution of cars. And this line represents the average fuel consumption per car. So as you can see, the efficiency of cars on average has improved. Not much, but has improved by 10%. So we have been able to design better products from an efficiency point of view. However, during the same period of time, the total amount of kilometers traveled by all cars has increased by 30%. And overall, this means that the total amount of fuel consumption has increased by 20%. So this means that all the improvements we made at a product level have been more than offset by the increase in consumption level. This is an example related to cars, but it's similar in several other sectors. And this means that, yes, it's important to work at the product level, it's necessary, it's crucial, but unfortunately, it's not enough. And as Herrenfeld, an American design professor, summarized very well, reducing unsustainability will not create sustainability. So working only on efficiency will of course reduce unsustainability, but will not bring us towards sustainability. And the reason is that under discussion there are not only artifacts, but also and especially consumption patterns, lifestyles, and the way in which needs are fulfilled. So what we can do? Of course, we have to design products, production processes, infrastructures to enable a circular economy model. So we need to have products that can be easily maintained, reused, remanufactured, recycle, and so on. So this is the technical challenge, and in addition to this, what we have to do is also working on the social dimension of the challenge. So we need to focus on a drastic reduction of consumption levels, and probably we need to move towards a consumption based on access and sharing rather than a consumption based on ownership. And within this context, the concept of product service system innovation seems to be quite promising. So basically, as Leonardo said before, we are talking about business models which move away from selling products. Okay, so in this case, we have manufacturers which keep ownership and responsibility of a product. So what we sell is not a product, but a final result or a function. It's also called functional economy in this kind of approach. So let's go through just a couple of examples to clarify what are the potential benefits of this kind of innovation. So the first example I'd like to discuss is the Paperlux product service system, which is offered by Philips. So basically here, Philips doesn't sell lighting equipment, but they sell light. So basically, they agree with the customers on the amount of light, which is measured in lux, that the customer needs in each room. And the customer pay a monthly fee based on the amount of lux. And of course, Philips is responsible for selecting the right equipment, of installing the equipment, but also taking care about maintenance, repair, upgrading, and paid back at the end of the contract. So Philips owns the product. And for this reason, they are economically interested in designing product that can last as much as possible, that can be easily repaired, maintained, easily recycled when they collect the product at the end of the contract. So you can see this kind of alignment between the economic and the environmental interests. Another example, this is a British company called River Simple. They manufacture this electric car, but they don't sell it. They offer through a paper-month agreement. What's interesting is that this paper-month agreement includes everything. It includes the energy needed by the car, maintenance, repair, insurance. So again, you can see what are the economic interests of the company in this case. Not only to design long-lasting products, but also to design a very efficient product. Because lower is the energy used by this car, and higher will be their profit. Okay? So you can see how the economic driver is also pushing the company towards implementing sustainable innovation. So there are several types of product service systems with different product service ratio. So from product-oriented PSS, where the product content is much more important, to result-oriented PSS, where the service element is predominant. But what is important to highlight is that they can enable a circular economy model that we discussed before. So a linear economy model is based on extracting resources, manufacturing product, selling product to customer, and then this goes to becomes a waste. Okay, and this is very linked to traditional business models where manufacturers sell products. What happens with product service system, as we have seen before, is that the manufacturers are economically interested in extending the lifespan as much as possible, facilitate reuse, remanufacture, and recycle. So they enable this kind of circular model. And I think it's important to say that this concept is not something that has been invented in the academia. Okay, companies have done this, and what is important to highlight is that the percentage of companies, this graph is related to European countries, the percentage of companies that are offering services together with products is constantly increasing. So not all of these are sustainable PSS, but the servitization process is an ongoing trend. Okay? And why is that? Is it because companies are interested on environment, on sustainability? I would say no. Most of the companies probably don't care so much about environment. The reason why there is this trend on servitization is because product service system also offers some competitive and economic advantages. So this is key important. Okay, we are not talking about something which is implemented at a company because it's something good for the environment, but it's because they can create benefits from it. So just very quickly, what are the key benefits of this model? First of all, it's a way to differentiate their offer. Especially in industrialized countries, companies are struggling to compete on price and cost, so they have to add service elements to their products in order to increase the quality of their offer and to differentiate their offers from the competitors' offer. It's also interesting to say that because of the flexibility of the service element, with PSS companies can customize the offer to meet specific customer needs. Also, with PSS you have the possibility to establish a longer relationship with the customer, because the relationship doesn't end after the selling of the product. And overall, a product service system is much more difficult to be copied. Okay, because you have products, you have services, you have a network of stakeholders. So the overall package is much more difficult to be copied by competitors. There are some other advantages, but these are the most important ones. So it's a promising concept, yes, but what about design? Of course, designing a product service system is quite different from designing a product. It's much more complex, because we have products, which are the tangible elements of our solution. We have services. We have a network of stakeholders, which is needed to produce the different elements of the product service system and deliver these elements to the customer. And we have also the payment structure, so the type of relationship between the provider and the customer. So all these elements have to be designed simultaneously. So of course methods and product design are not very helpful in this case. And that's the reason why in the past 10-15 years there were a lot of research projects funded especially by European Union to better explore how to design product service system solutions. Next, for example, Suspronet, or very recently the Lens project. And each of these projects developed a sort of method, a sort of design method to develop sustainable product service system. So just to give you an example, this is a method that was developed in the Lens project. So going through strategic analysis, exploring opportunity, and then system design and development. And together with this methods, several tools were also developed to help and support practitioners. So just to give you some example, tool to orient the design process towards sustainable outcomes, or tool to support the visualization and communication of product service system. So just to give you an example, this is the sustainability design oriented toolkit to support, as I said, the design of PSS towards a sustainable solution. This is a tool to visualize the stakeholders involved in the PSS. And also, in addition to these, there are also other tools which have been mainly developed by the service design community and also human-centered design tools, which help to better involve the user in the design process. So again, just to give you some example, cultural probes to better understand user needs, service blueprint, service staging to test the initial version of product service systems, animated storyboard to communicate the complexity of a process, and so on. So we can say that the methodological toolbox to design PSS is fairly complete. Okay, so we have some methods, we have a set of tools, we know how to design PSS. But if it is a promising model and we know how to design it, why this kind of model is not so widely implemented? And I would say that this is because in some cases PSS are to a certain extent radical innovations, and because of that they challenge existing customer habits, company organizational structures, and also regulatory framework. So there are some barriers which are limiting the diffusion of product services. So for example, very quickly, just to give you some practical example, from a user perspective, some PSS require a sort of cultural shift because they require the user to move from a consumption based on ownership to a consumption based on access and sharing. And for some people and for some particular product, this may be a big challenge to be overcome. Also, in terms of companies, moving from selling products to offering product service system might require a big change in the company organization because you need a different structure, you need a different mindset, a different set of skills, resources, competencies. So the process of moving towards product service system oriented business models is also hindered by the internal barriers by companies nowadays. So it's a promising model, but there are some barriers to be faced, to be addressed. And because of that, I think there are some important research challenges that we have to address as design researchers. And first of all, we need more studies on user acceptance and satisfaction. Okay, so we need to better understand what are the factors that are related to user satisfaction of PSS. So why some product service systems are more successful than others? Why some people are more inclined towards product service system solution? Is it because they have some values or because they don't have some certain values? Is it because of social cultural factors? So we need to better understand these elements. And this would be key important then to be translated in principle, in guidelines, to inform the design process. We said before that product service systems in some cases are radical innovation. So this means that a company, in most of the cases, cannot implement a product service system in one day. It requires a sort of transition process. So another challenge from a research point of view is really to better understand this kind of transition process that companies need to go through in order to gradually test and implement sustainable product service system. And in my opinion, we need much more action research, so we need to work with companies and to follow them in the process that could last even a few years. Follow them in the process of introducing this solution in order then to understand what are the critical factors that we have to consider. Okay? Also, in the past, product service system has been mainly studied in industrialized context, but there are also some initial studies, for example, Aguinaldo, in relation to middle-income context, but also we need to understand PSS in low-income context, right? And we need much more research in this area to better understand what are the key characteristics of PSS in this kind of context. And then it's important to try to understand how product service system can be combined with other promising models. And Leonardo introduced before the link between product service system and distributed economies. And basically, instead of a centralized system, which are characterized by large production unit, distributed economies are characterized by small, locally based and interconnected units. And there are some suggestions that that kind of models might be more efficient and more resilient. And as Leonardo said, this is a kind of open field of exploration. So in this project we are trying to understand if the combination of these two models is promising to make PSS more effective and efficient. We have already some initial research results in relation to combine product service system with distributed energy system. We have been working in the past with African universities and we collected several cases, identifying key critical factors and develop a set of design tools to support PSS applied to distributed energy system. Of course, we don't have the time to go into the detail, but have a look to that website where you can find some learning resources and design tools. But then specifically with this project, we're also trying to understand how the paradigm of distributed manufacturing and distributed design can be integrated into product service system design. Okay? So this is really quite a big challenge, an open field of exploration. So overall we can say that yes, it's a promising approach. Yes, we have learned how to design these models, but there are some key challenges, some key research challenges we have to address in the future years. But I'm quite confident because in this project we built a quite huge network of universities. So we have a critical mass of design researchers, and I'm confident that in the next few years we will make quite significant steps towards integrating PSS with distributed economies. Okay, thank you very much.